Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the recovery addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican por each verbis Latinos. I'm not a cat.
All right. Trying to figure out why these buttons aren't working. Let's see if we can fix them here. Scan USB. There they go. They're working now. Okay, we're ready. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I'm the Recovery Addict. Thank you very much for being here. It is No Pants Friday. Passionate No Pants Friday. Is that what it is? We just keep adding things to what the definition of Friday is. Well, whatever it is, the weekend is here. After today, it's all downhill, and then it starts over again. So I think I just scared Zoe from underneath the bench. She's like, I'm going to move away. Zoe's back with us today, just chilling over there. Hey, Zoe. She's actually on the ground in the shadow. You can't see her. Even if the camera could see her, she just blends into the shadow. She's quiet that way, too, as well. Let's see. Need to get some sound working here. Oh, not sound, sorry. The sound is working fine. I need this button to work. Wait for it. Still not working. This is important. It's important because, let's see. There we go. Okay, we're there. All right. Boom. Oh, actually, we're not quite there. I'm the wrong size. This is what happens when Mrs. RA exercises till right at the moment I'm supposed to start my live stream, because I don't get to give it a dry run and make sure everything's working. All right. Let's see. Run to A. There, we're good. All right.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
I do that a lot, and I'll do that again tonight at the Not Relevant podcast with Thomas. And we have special guests, Brandy Churchwell and JT, Mr. Brews Crime himself, JT Brewmeister. I forget what his nickname was. Brewmeister, I think, was the one. We have both of them who are going to be, I believe, with us tonight. If we keep fingers crossed that they stay available and nothing major happens in the world of true crime that we're following together. Anyway, we're going to be all together, all four of us in one place. It might be too much to handle. It might be just too much, and you might just have to take the rest of the weekend off after that. But it's going to be great. That said, first of all, Ashley, I did not save your initial comment where you said hi, and I responded. But Ashley has done something. She was first in chat, and it's the first time she's been first in chat, which means she is a first-time offender. First-time offender. And I checked, and as far as I can tell, her record is clean up to this. So this is the first time she has anything on her record. This will go on her permanent record. There is a brief booking process, Ashley, that we go through, and we'll make a note of this. Once that's done on our end, and it's all behind the scenes, so you don't have to worry about it. We'll take care of everything. You will be able to pay your court fee, which is the fine, I believe, comes to 50 cents, and then you'll be able to receive a copy of the paperwork indicating that you have a record. You did win chat. It is available in the store. It's a 50 cent. It's easier to put the fee through the store. You buy the paperwork, you have the plaque, write your name on it, and then you can commemorate your great sin, your great error, your foray into the world of crime, for winning the internet today, being first in chat. Congratulations! Everything IP related is now yours, Ashley, for the day, which is big because it's the weekend, and a lot of people are relying on the internet this weekend. And myself included, as a matter of fact. If we just are fully, full disclosure, I'd like the internet to work this weekend. All right, so that's great. Ashley, congratulations on that big win. I know you've worked hard to get there, and you made it today. So thank you very much. That's awesome. We have a couple things we have to have today. First of all, Ashley did mention correctly that I got my homework done. I think I got all my homework done. I probably missed a question or two, but I did the big things. We submitted this guy right here, filled out all properly, and we're expecting the 8th Judicial District Court to certify that and give us media access to that court. Also, you heard when we were called KUTV the other day, and let them know that we were also media on the for the trial, the Kouri Richins trial that's going on, and requested access to that. In that case, it's funny because the very people who in other situations would be hitting me with copyright strikes now have to provide clear, unbranded copies of the video to me. That's how the media pool works. So KUTV did email me the clear files, the high resolution files from Kouri's case. We're going to watch that. That happened late yesterday afternoon because Utah they did it really late in the day. And this is an interesting case because Kouri Richins, she's the wife, the mom who may have allegedly poisoned her husband with fentanyl in an effort to kill him so she would get the money from his money and be able to buy the house she wanted. And there might have been some other reasons. But then she went on and she wrote a book on grieving. And she wrote the book for her kids about, how sad it is that your dad died and here's how you can get through it. And then she went on all the talk shows all over the nation talking about this wonderful book and what a thoughtful person she is. And then eventually the police caught up to her and said, hey, something's not right here. And now she's charged with his murder. So that trial's going on, and she is fighting right now. In the case that we're going to watch today, she's fighting for his money still. There's $2 million that the court is sitting on, trying to decide who gets to give it, who they get to give it to. And everybody wants a piece of this pie. And so we're watching this, and that's what the hearing is. So it's tied to the murder case very closely because we believe this is part of the motive of the murder trial, but it's not the murder trial. And I realize Kouri does not make an appearance in this video, but this will start giving us just an idea of what's going on. And if you ever want to see lawyers work their very best, throw $2 million into the mix. And you will see them go for it. These guys are quite motivated to get a win. And we have people representing the minor children. We have people representing Kouri. We have the trust. The other people that it's fun. So we're going to listen to that. Honestly, there's some stuff in here I don't understand. If you happen to be like a financial lawyer, who knows a lot about this or know somebody who is, we might need their help today to help us understand some of the things that are going on and some of the implications that are in play. Okay, that being said, let's see. Also, we have Bryan Kohberger. Bryan Kohberger, as he has done several times before, through his lawyers, has dropped a ton of documents on the court. Just like, it's a document dump every single time they do this. Wait. Buffer. Aha. Oh. Okay. Wait. I have to do this. I actually wrote this down. It's on my. It's right here. It says birthdays and it says who it is. Let me get to the song here really quickly. Let me just say, we have Nisi. Is it Nisi or Nisi? It's your birthday today. We don't want to miss that. We'll sing to you as well. I just know that it is also my littlest RA's birthday. So little RA is going to be sung to as well. We already sang as a family and gave him a gift this morning, and he's wearing it and shooting people with it already. So he's a big fan of Nerf. Anyway, so that's the birthdays. If anyone else has one, you have to chime in right now because once the song starts, it's a little too late to start adding words to it. I'm going to go with Neezy. Is that all right? Neezy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Neezy. A little R.A. Happy birthday to you. It is a wonderful day to have a birthday, and thanks for sharing it with my little boy. He's super excited. Do you want to say hi to anybody? Do you want to say happy birthday to Neezy? Because Neezy has a birthday the same day as you.
Happy birthday, Neezy.
There you go. All right. Thank you, Neezy, for spending your time here. I realize there are many places you could be on your birthday, and being here with us is a privilege. So thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Yes, sing up in the back. We can't hear you back there. Thank you very much. Yes, he's so excited. He's wearing. We got him a little army vest that has like 1,000,000 pockets and binoculars and a little plastic grenade. It came with a grenade. It doesn't actually explode. And a whole bunch of darts and little clips for his guns. And so he's got all his accessories now, and he can run around. This is so he can do his Nerf battles when he shoots these little darts at people. And he has a 1,000,001 of these little dart guns all over the house. I step on them all the time, and it's terrible. But for some reason, we are perpetuating that problem by feeding it. I don't know where Zoe went. She's over there. She's moved away from my feet. I guess I was swinging my feet too much, and she was nervous. Anyway, Neezy, happy birthday. Little RA, also happy birthday. Let's see. We have a couple things. First of all, we're going to talk about Bryan Kohberger and this document dump. And I'm debating pulling it up on the screen. It's always a lot of junk. Let's see here. I cleared it off because I was looking at something else. Just one second. Okay. All right. I wanted to read you part of it, part of his filing. Let's see, is this the right one? He filed a couple things the other day. I think this is it. I think this is the one. Okay, I'm just going to read this. I'm not going to put it on the screen, if that's all right, because it's a little tricky to show this one. Okay. All right. Here we go. For those that don't know, Bryan Kohberger is accused of murdering 4 people. They were college students. They were in their dorm. I don't know why that window's open. That's going to bug me until I close it. Anyway, there were college students. They were basically sleeping in their dorm, or should have been asleep in their dorm, late at night or early in the morning. He's accused of walking in there and basically stabbing 4 of them to death in their dorm, and then leaving. So there's a ton of evidence, and if you follow this when this happened, when this first went down, obviously the whole town, the whole area, the whole state was like up in arms, like, what is going on? Who does this, right? And they're like, who? I mean, not just who does this, but who did this, and where are they, and and everything else. So we watched that, and it took forever. It seemed like forever until the police. They bungled some information, and it was sort of like a big old cluster at the beginning. Really, honestly, they did a very poor job handling the information. But they took the investigation like pretty.
Happy birthday, Little Raw. Ice cream fund.
Ice cream fund. He will love that. Thank you very much. That was Vicki Hendricks with the ice cream fund for Little RA. Thank you very much. So they took the case very seriously, but they were asking for a lot of help from the public. And then at the same time, they didn't want the public's help or their involvement, or at least their interest in some cases. And so there was like this push you, pull me type thing going on. I realize that's a character out of a Dr. Seuss book, but it's the best idea for, it seemed like everyone was working against each other during the investigation. And then all of a sudden there was this big break, and we had Bryan Kohberger, and they had chased him across the country, and he had gone all the way up to, what was it, Massachusetts or something like that, and or Pennsylvania, I think it was PA. And then we followed him across the country as he was flown back to Idaho, and it was like all secret, and a secret plane. We knew within like 30 minutes of him taking off which plane he was on. And anyway, it was bizarre, and there's a ton of interest. A lot of people were interested in this just because, first of all, it's a quadruple murder. In a little small town. It's young kids, gory. Okay, it's a stabbing. It's not, sometimes shootings are as terrible as they are. They they're looked at differently than a stabbing. A stabbing is very personal. It's a very upfront. I mean, you're right there. You're very close to the attack, where a shooting can take place with some distance and margin of safety between you, so the person who's actually perpetuating it can, not be. Well, I think I've just made YouTube pretty mad. Anyway, so we'll go over on that later. But as this develops, we have a lot of questions, more questions than answers, and it wasn't until paperwork really started getting posted in the court, because the court pretty much put it under wraps, gagged everybody, and said nobody can talk, nobody. The police, the prosecutors, nobody's allowed to talk at all. And so we're waiting for these documents to dump, and every time they do, we're getting this wealth of information. We've got first of all the grand jury. We find out about that, and it's like, whoa, that was quick. We were expecting something else, but we go through all these documents, and they're giving us information. And now through these filings, but you have to sort of go back and forth. The state says, hey, if you have an alibi, we need to know about it. And they can do that, and so they said, "Hey, Bryan, if you're going to use an alibi defense, we need to know about it." He's like, "Well, I am." I'm like, well, you sort of need to tell us.
Adding to Little R.A.'s birthday fun face with heart-shaped eyes, smiling face with hearts.
B Crumbs, thank you very much. We'll add that to the birthday fund for him. He's gonna love it. Thank you. So, BK goes. His response through his lawyers is basically, "Hey, that's not fair. I shouldn't have to tell you my defense." And they're like, "Well, under Idaho law, you sort of have to." And so they want to comply, but at the same time, they're not on the same team, right? The defense and the prosecution are literally, those are the names of the two teams. They're against each other. They're opposed. And so they work together under the law but they come as close to the line as they can with still, they're like, hey, we tried to comply. No, it's not what you want. Sorry. But, this fills the measure of what's required. And the other side's like, that doesn't do anything. Well, that's what we have back and forth with the case. But the latest filing, especially related to the alibi defense, is interesting, because an alibi is just that. It means it wasn't me. I couldn't have done it.
Happy birthday, Little Ad Recovery Addict. Red heart as an exclamation mark, and for all of what Dad R.A. does for his community. Mercy Bocups, red double exclamation mark, grinning face with big eyes.
Mercy Bocups. I've never heard it pronounced like that. I think it was merci beaucoup, or something close to that. That's my best French. But thank you very much, Maisla, for that. So the defense has filed this motion in an answer to the prosecution saying, you need to tell us what the alibi is. You need to tell us what your defense is. An example of an alibi would be, I could not have done the murder because I was in Hawaii at the time. And here's the video of me, with, time stamped in front of the, atomic clock at the Hawaii Naval whatever place, dated saying, here I am, look, I'm not committing murder. That would be an alibi, right? Alibis can take various forms, but basically it says, I was somewhere else that would have prevented me from doing the crime, and I can prove it. Those are the elements of an alibi, right? I've got somebody who was with me who says, no, I was with him in another state, or he was with me all day and he didn't do anything. I never slept, never blinked, never took my eyes off him. He didn't do anything. Am I mad, Debbie? Am I mad? Sorry, I'll dial it down a little bit. It's Friday. I'm really happy. Anyway, so this alibi filing, they're forced to do it, and they don't like doing it. So you'll see that in this as we read. So let me bring this to you. Okay. So Bryan Kohberger, through his attorney, and Taylor, who's a public defender, objects to the state's motion to compel motive of defense of alibi. So we're saying, first of all, we don't even agree that we should have to do this.
Happy birthday, Little R.A. Hoping you are living your best life with these most amazing parents that you have. Smiling face with hearts, party face with a party horn, hat, and Little R.A. smiling face with hearts. Happy B-Day, Little R.A.
Those two got overlapped a little bit over each other. Thank you, Kim R. and Weather Watch. Thomas, thank you very much. Little R.A., you've got gifts coming in. So thank you very much. We'll let him know. Appreciate that very much. We have... So Bryan, his attorney, first of all, objects and says, we hate that we have to do this, okay? And they have in other stuff, they've cited laws from like the 1800s, and they're saying the whole country has been doing this wrong. All the precedents that you're operating under is wrong and should be overturned. Like 200 years of Jewish jurisprudence should be reversed for us because we don't like the way this is going. Oh, I meant YouTube is mad today, not you. Okay, that makes more sense. I probably said some words about crime that in the first few minutes that they don't like. Maybe it was late enough. We'll see what happens. So they say they cite the Idaho Code and say that it does require an alibi disclosure of a specific location with a specific location and witness to so testify. Okay, the elements of an alibi. I was here and I was there with a witness that will prove that I was there. That's what the law says they need to do. By statutory definition, Mr. Kohberger may remain silent, yet testify that he was not at 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022. However, in an abundance of caution and recognizing the court has authority to exclude witnesses, Mr. Kohberger has indicated he anticipates corroborating witnesses. So he's saying, I wasn't there, but I'm doing this, still maintaining my right to stay silent. Okay, so I'm going to stay silent and tell you that I wasn't there because I have to by law. And then they go on and cite a whole bunch of more trials and different examples. And then he says, Mr. Kohberger has long had a habit of going for drives alone. Often he would go for drives at night.
Happy birthday, little R.A. Wishing you a wonderful birthday cake party face with a party horn, hat, and confetti.
Party face with the party horn, hat, and confetti.
Happy birthday,
Thank you,
little
Samantha.
R.A. all the way from Cape Breton Island, Canada. Have a fun day.
Cape Breton Island, Canada. Have a fun day. Little R.A., happy birthday from Cape Breton Island, Canada. Thank you very much, Caper and Samantha. Appreciate you very much. He's running around the house still. No, Zoe's fine over there. She's doing all right. You've got so many birthday wishes, buddy.
Wait, they're sending the gifts, the money to me?
They're sending the money to you?
Are they?
His eyes are like this big. They're like saucers. Okay, we're reading about true crime. Lots of people are telling you happy birthday, okay? I love you. Okay.
You got it wrong.
Oh, he wants to do our secret handshake. Can you pause for just a minute?
Because he's the guy.
Okay. He came up with a secret handshake that we have to do, and he wanted to do that right then. All right. Luckily, you couldn't see it, so it's still a secret. So Mr. Kohberger's had this long habit of going for drives all by himself. Okay, this is how he starts his tale of his alibi. Thank you, Red Pen. Appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much. So he says, often he would go for drives at night. He did so late on November 2nd or November 12th and into November 13th, 2022. Mr. Kohberger is not claiming to be at a specific location at a specific time. At this time, there is not a specific witness to say precisely where Mr. Kohberger was at each moment of the hours between late night November 12th and early morning November 13th. He was out driving during the late night and early morning hours of November 12th to 13th, 2022. This is his alibi, okay? Hold on one second. Let me switch to the page 2.
Happy birthday. Stay cool, little dude.
Mandy Wright says, happy birthday. Stay cool, little dude. Thank you very much, Mandy. I will pass that on to him. He's running around the house. Happy birthday. Stay cool, little dude. Okay. He's like, I know. I will. I'm always cool. Thank you, Mandy. So he goes on, just wrapping up here. That he expects that he's going to get witnesses, including from experts. Mr. Kohberger is aware of and will comply with his duty to disclose information. The court may exempt Mr. Kohberger from further inquiry. So quit asking me, right? Don't ask me what my alibi is.
Happy birthday, little R.A. birthday cake party popper confetti ball.
Let's see. August birthdays are the best, says Jen. Thank you, Amy, H51. Another birthday wish for you. Court may exempt Mr. Kohberger from further inquiry. Mr. Kohberger requests
happy birthday,
such an
mini
exception
R.A.
this
soft ice
time.
cream.
I'm trying to read here, guys. Be Kind says happy birthday as well with some soft ice cream. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Be Kind. Mr. Kohberger requests such an exception this time. Continued inquiry at this juncture delves into his case investigation as well as protected work product. In support of an exemption, Mr. Kohberger is prepared to provide further detail in an ex parte hearing with the court. So basically, he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. But in what he does say, this is interesting. He's saying, first of all, I do have an alibi, but his alibi literally can be used against him at this point because he's confessing to going out and being on a drive, which is exactly what the state was saying. You went out and went on a drive that night.
Happy birthday.
He's like, no, it couldn't have been me.
There's nothing sweeter or more challenging than an 8-year-old boy birthday cake.
This little boy is not as challenging. He's quite inquisitive, though. Happy birthday from Gail Pett. Happy birthday. He wants to go get Zoe, who is hidden over there on the other side of the room. Zoe's sleeping, I think. She'll be okay. Yeah, that's because she sees you coming and she's nervous. Thank you for all the birthday wishes for little R.A. You guys are amazing. He's going to have a fantastic birthday. So
been away and missed you all. I was cheating on you and watching the Shabuzinus trial. Please have me back. But seriously, this channel are my people. Purple Heart.
Ella, thank you very much. Welcome back. I will say that going somewhere else and watching another trial is not cheating on me. I do not own you, and I recognize that you guys can choose every single day where you can be on the internet. I feel honored that you'd spend time here with me. It's awesome. And if there's another trial somewhere that is more interesting, by all means, go there and then tell me about it. We'd love to hear what you've learned. So awesome. Ella, good to have you here. Appreciate that. The way she says "shabusiness," yes, the bot can't pronounce it quite right. Okay, so Bryan Kohberger's defense is that he was actually doing something that the prosecution is going to prove during their case in chief. I've never seen an alibi come back quite like that.
You all own me.
We all own you. Thank you, Ella. Appreciate that. The defense doesn't do much. It's basically it's answering the request for an alibi, but not really giving them anything. It's something they already have. We already know he was out driving. We know this because we have his cell phone pings that show he got in the car and drove around. You know, when he turned the car on and off, and we saw that the previous days on the dry runs. And we have when his phone was turned off, and we have his car that was seen with his phone moving at the same time, and we have the cameras that see him at different intersections, and including all the way over near the crime scene, and it's bizarre, but his alibi is that he was actually doing what the state says he thinks he was. So I've never seen that before. That's going to be interesting to see how that progresses. He really thinks that there will be some expert witnesses that will be able to prove that he was not there, and I don't think there will be, because he may be good, but he's not that good. That would take some pretty advanced work to be able to set up that level of an alibi, and it would take help. Quite honestly, it's something it's difficult to do on your own. Okay, so that's BK's side. We're going to keep following that, and honestly, Mrs. R.A. and I are looking even closer at actually going out to BK's trial if the date holds. We'd like to go out there and set up and go live from there. Maybe even take the entire family for like a month, however long it's going to take. We'll make that happen. Angie, congratulations on 7 months. 7 months. That's great. With party face with the party horn hat and confetti 4 times. Thank you very much. Driving a car around at night and only on that day you put the phone into flight mode. Now that's a silly coincidence, Dallas K. It does look a little suspicious, especially when nobody saw him do it apparently, or nobody saw him do it and also not to kill anyone. B Crumbs says, great community, love it here. Thank you very much. 6 months as well. You've got that yellow courthouse. That looks awesome. Thank you for your support. I wonder if BK's dad knows recovery addicts. He doesn't have the juice to pull this off. Okay, there was a period right there. I missed it. I wonder if BK's dad knows. He doesn't have the juice to pull this off. Right. I don't think the family's involved. I really don't. As interesting as they are, they're no. I'm going to send something in my native tongue, Scottish Gaelic, just to see how the bot reads it, says Caper. You're going to challenge this bot. It will struggle. I will tell you, the struggle bus will be real at that point. Arkansas Magnet Fisher, I'm here but forgotten. No, we see you there. Welcome. Hope you and your missus are doing great. Good to have you here. Someone stole the phone and car and then returned them. That would fall in the improbable category. Like the odds of that happening are fairly low. Have you ever heard of that happening before? Oh, here it is. Okay, hold tight.
The Gaol Chomoragam and Tiglach du Chain Sao.
Was it close, Caper? Was it even close? I don't even know what that says. De Gael Chomor Agam Tiglach Dushan Seo. I did probably a worse job than Siri or the voice did. Color Siri. Everyone's voice is Siri now. In honor of 7 months, Pickle Funds.
In honor of 7 months, Pickle Fund Funds.
Thank you, Angie. 7 months is awesome, and appreciate your continued support. Are you covering the RH presser? That's today. Oh, man, why can't I think what RH is, Charmed? Hold on one second. Are you talking about the LISC? Are we talking LISC today? It says in English, I love this trial family so much. All right, I never would have got that. I never would have known. My translation skills, especially when it comes to Gaelic, are very low. We aren't covering LISC directly. That's going to be several months, if not years, before it goes to trial. We are following it individually, and we're following it over on Discord for sure. When that comes to trial, that is one I'd like to follow when it's in court. But the press conferences are difficult. We get a lot of strikes on press conferences, honestly. RH, pain in the butt is what you're saying. 10:30 press conference for Rex. Yeah, the press conferences are difficult from a copyright standpoint. I realize people do them. I have to play very carefully. All right, here's what I want to do. We want to bring up the court case, the money case is really what it is. The money case, and these are, I'm actually going to be playing these files off my computer, courtesy of KUTV. Thank you very much for sending me the documents. Let's see. Here's part 1. We've got part 1 and part 2. I need to plug this in. Sorry. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I've slowly been trimming my goatee down. It's getting smaller and smaller. And this morning I trimmed the bottom, and Mrs. R.A. informed me that I had trimmed it completely uneven, so I had to level it out a little bit. Okay. Eventually I'll have nothing left. It's just going to be gone. Okay, so a fun thing about this trial, I think we're in the same building and possibly the same courtroom as the civil trial, the ski trial with Gwyneth Paltrow. That's the same courthouse we're in. So it's going to look familiar a little bit when we see that. But I don't know if I'll watch live streams for BK and LISC. So creepy. It is creepy. LISC might be a little rough, but BK, it looks like it's just straight murder. But we'll see how it goes. All right, water, hydrate. I've got some somewhere. It was even cold a minute ago. Did you see Mark Scheiner is going to be the defense attorney for the man whose wife was found dismembered in suitcases? Ashley, is that another one out of Florida? What's with Florida and suitcases? I think the wife was dismembered in 3 different suitcases, Ashley. But Mark Scheiner, wow. That's going to be interesting. I will say every time there's a suitcase involved, it seems to be the attacker seems to be very close to the victim. Generally, you don't get like a random murderer that uses a suitcase. Nothing is creepy after subjecting yourself to the TS case, yet easier than LS by miles. Yeah, for sure. Pippi Longstocking's in the house. Love that book, by the way. Growing up, that was a fantastic book. If you haven't read that to your kids, even if they're full-grown adults, I highly recommend doing that. It's about a girl who has like super strength, and her dad's a pirate, and she has all this gold, and she's constantly throwing gold around to the neighborhood kids and buying stuff, and keeps a horse on her roof. It's a little bizarre now that I hear myself talking about it, but it's a fun story. She's just a fun little neighborhood kid that owns a house. Florida's going to need to start to sell clear suitcases only. Excuse me. I need to see what's in your suitcase. There were 5 suitcases in total. I thought it was 3. Wow. That is going to be definitely dismemberment. Or were they small suitcases? Loved Pippi Longstocking. My dog's name is Pippi. Wasn't it is it Astrid? I'm trying to remember who the author is of Pippi Longstocking. I think it's like a Norwegian or a Scandinavian name. Danish or something. I think it's, I don't remember. I just saw another suitcase murder. The husband murdered his wife, chopped her up and put her there. Lisa, that's what we're talking about. Is this fairly new? So this is going to be a while before the case goes forward. But it was also along the coastline, the freeway that runs along the coastline, right? Yeah. I mean, usually people aren't happy about losing their baggage, but these people wanted definitely to lose the luggage. Swedish author Astrid Lindgren. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. I'm pretty sure you did not Google that. You just knew that off the top of your head, as usual. Let's see your goatee. Show us on your big screen. Let's see. There it is. That's in focus. That's all it is. It's a little bit smaller. It's less of a neck beard now. Less of a neck beard and more of a goatee. But all right. Were you able to see that a little bit? Hope you saw that. Pippi is a Swedish kid's story. Sorry, a Nerf battle is taking place right outside my studio door, and it's getting heated. There we go. Dang, suitcases become murder tool and they get wheels. Bad upgrade. You're not seeing the full screen? Oh. I showed myself. I didn't show you guys. I'll show you. That's it. You're up. It's starting to look halfway respectable, honestly. Like I meant to do it, and it's starting to look good, which means it's almost time to go. Is that the same size suitcase that Ari was taking to the Bahamas? Yes, and we might have some more Bahamas calls. I got another one last night, and I was in the car with Mrs. R.A. with the family. We were driving, and they called, and I said to them on a quote. Well, it was something very close to this. I said, "Now's not a good time. Can you call back tomorrow around 10 a.m.?" So that's in 20 minutes. That's when I'll be on the live stream, and that will work better for me. And they said, okay. And they hung up. And so we might have a call in like 19 minutes from somebody who wants to send us on a cruise. So I'm going to need your help if we get more of them. I'm not that creative. I wish I were. I wish I could just come up on the fly of things to say. But I'm going to need help to say, to sort of steer the conversation. And so I'll be watching chat as we do any prank calls that come in, any spam calls that come in. So keep it updated. How does Mrs. Ari like it? Clean shaven or scruffy, I think is what she said. She's not a big fan of the long goatee. Yes, Carrie. Carrie, here's the thing. For those who have not played Nerf lately or have never played Nerf, kids these days, their toy guns for little Nerf battles are pretty serious machines. They're pretty high tech. The tolerances are very tight. They're durable. They shoot far and fast and hard. And it's, even though you're playing with a little rubber dart with a little foam dart with a rubber tip, they can shoot, all the way across the yard, like almost like 100 feet, and that's pretty far, and it will get you. They might even leave a bruise if you're not careful. Jen, it's your 3-month memberversary. Congratulations, Jen. Thank you so much. Good to have you here. Love that green courthouse by your name. Looks better from the front than from the side. The side/back looks like you forgot to rinse your chin after shaving. Thanks, CG. It's comments like this that will make me shave it off. I get self-conscious. No, that's funny. I appreciate that. Be sure to say this call might be recorded for quality assurance purposes so you don't get in trouble for recording them. Let's see. I don't think I'll get in trouble for recording them because this is like a scam business. And for them to sue me, they basically have to identify themselves. And for them to identify themselves, it's a problem. And they're calling me also. They're calling me and I'm in a one-party consent state. So as far as subject matter jurisdiction goes, they can't force their laws on me when they call me. Our neighbor's son has about 20 Nerf bullets in our gutters. That sounds about right. We have a 2-story house, and we still get Nerf bullets in the gutters. Saving them for the podcast tonight. What are you saving? Let's see. A stash of beanbag missiles I can borrow. Okay, there we go. Spends more money on beard grooming than a woman does on her hair in a lifetime. Beard grooming, for me, it's just cutting it off. If it starts needing special care products, it's too much. Good morning, says Buttercup. My human is not happy with me today. 2 poop piles, and shredded Kleenex all over the living room and kitchen floor. But you like the goatee. Well, Buttercup, sorry about the accident. Hope it all gets cleaned up all right. All right, let's begin trial with Kouri. We've got her pulled up here. This is the courtroom we're watching. The judge is because of this trial, it's a hearing. It's not a trial, so we're not going to hear evidence here. We're going to have 3 sides arguing their case as far as what should happen to the money. Okay, and when we're talking about the money, we're talking about $2 million ish that Kouri Richins' husband had and sold and moved into a trust fund, and then it was like right before his death, this move took place, and so part of this is some people are saying we should be able to cancel that. That wasn't a legal move. It was he was hiding money, so we should be able to reverse it, and it shouldn't take effect. Another part of it is that people are one side's going to say we believe that Kouri is actually a creditor in here and has legal claim already without the court saying anything on that money. And then the kids are going to be there saying, or the kid's attorney is going to be there saying, actually, no, she has no claim, that the time limits have expired. And so this all stays there, and it goes to the kids. So everybody's going to be fighting over the money, and it is $2 million. And it's basically the judge is holding the money right now. That's where we're at. The judge is holding the money. This will come into play. I think all the lawyers will get a slice of it, whichever direction this goes. Even if it goes to somebody else, obviously some lawyer gets the take. So they're fighting over the money. Let's see. Matthew Harris has an easy question on his quiz today. I highly recommend doing that. If you've got an easy win, I would take it. Was this yesterday, or did we make the request in time for today? Or there two? There's a big old case with multiple tentacles. Yes, Mr. Upper Torso. This was yesterday late. It was like 6 p.m. our time, Eastern time. So it was late in the day. But we're in the media pool, so we're getting these files FTP'd over to us once it's complete. I also could be at the courthouse and plug in and get them live, but this will work. Let's see, where's my mouse? It's missing. Mouse is missing. We're gonna give this a go. I'm gonna have to tweak the audio because the audio levels are a little crappy. But let me get this working here. Okay, it's coming in on 3.
Alex stole it.
Alex stole it as well. Kouri wants all the money. We believe this is the motive for the murder. The alleged murder. Okay. So Kouri is not in this hearing. She's not there. But look how much... The courtroom is packed. Okay, can you imagine what this is going to look like when the case begins? Who's Elvira? I didn't see her there. They're gonna make their announcements here in just a little bit as the judge goes through the introductions. But doesn't it look like the same room that Gwyneth Paltrow was in? The camera's in a little different position, but I think it's the same courthouse. So the lady on the far left, she's representing the minor children. She's by herself. The two together, they're with the lady in the black jacket that's sitting behind them, and they're representing Kouri Richins. And I think the other side is representing the trust. I have to remember. It's got the mirror in the back and everything. Yeah, that was the room that Gwyneth Paltrow would sit in until it was time to come to court. It's a very quiet court. Look at the attire. Everybody is dressed to the nines. It looks like I'm going to have to wear a black suit and tie if I show up there. I think we got a lot of court watchers here, people that are just interested in the trial, not necessarily media members. But media coverage is pretty solid as well. Basically, there are I think 3 or 4 motions they're going to work through here in the arguments. Because of the nature of this hearing, it's going to start with like the judge asking questions. And he gets right into it and asks back and forth and asks, it's not as structured as it's now prosecution time to lead first and then defense has a cross. It's not going to be like that. And there's no witnesses called. It's all attorney speak here. I believe we have family back here. The camera's going to zoom in. Their family right there. I'm not sure if who's Kouri's family and who's her husband's family. Is it Eric? Who's the green tie guy? We're gonna have to learn the identities as we go along. I don't know. Oh, they tried to white balance on that. That was awful. Good focus though. Camera guy is moving all over the place. The cameraman is from KUTV News, Channel 2 in Salt Lake City. It's a great big news station, very reputable, but he's filming as you would use video from the news. So we are going to be jumping around a little bit. He is the pool media camera, and so it's not going to be holding still very long. He's waiting for a shot of somebody. He's not getting it.
All rise. Summit County District Court is in session. The Honorable Richard Morazic is presiding.
Have a seat, please. All right. We're here on 220500076. Kouri Richins versus Kouri Richins Benson in her capacity as trustee of the Eric Richins Living Trust. Have counsel for Kouri make their appearance, please.
Thank you. Sky Lazaro and Austin Nate for Ms. Richins.
Very good. Welcome. And for Ms. Richins Benson, please.
Yes, Your Honor. James Tracy and Jacob Gorange for defendant Kouri Richins Benson in her capacity as the trustee of the Eric Richins Living Trust.
Okay, that's Katie.
Deborah Chandler on behalf of the minor children.
Okay, so I was wrong. The two
All right.
The two on the other
We're
side of the court.
motions. They are related, so there may be some going back and forth as we address related issues. Why don't we handle the motion related to plaintiff's 7th claim for relief first? That's the motion for partial summary judgment related to the Oil Transfer Act. How best to start here? Mr. Nate, are you doing the talking on this one?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Why don't we start with you? I think for the benefit of our media members, you need to stand at the podium.
Happy to do so, Your Honor. Hopefully that doesn't slide down.
May I ask you a couple of questions?
Yes, Your Honor, please do.
First, in your view, how does the fact that a transfer or revocable trust doesn't put assets beyond the reach of creditors affect the application of the act? Hold on one second.
Okay.
Let me check with Richard for just a minute. We need to fix it. You sure? Okay. Okay. How does it, I mean, the argument, right, is it's as if the assets weren't transferred from a creditor's perspective. They're still reachable under Utah code. Why does the act apply?
So I think there's two ways to address that, Your Honor. And the first is, with and of course, as you mentioned, there's bleed over into the other motions that are issued. And I think this particular issue, lends itself to that specifically. Because one of the positions that the defendant has taken in this case is that Eric no longer had anything to convey to him or convey to Kouri upon his death. And essentially it was out of her reach at that point because it had been transferred to the trust.
Right, but I'm asking you a different question. So put that as your side. Let's assume that the money, the buy-sell proceeds, if I recall correctly, nobody in the case is asserting, or Kouri, forgive me, is not asserting unwind the assignment, I want the membership interest. Rather, she's asserting an interest in the full amount of the buy-sell proceeds. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
She wants all the money.
And so let's assume for the purposes of our discussion, just for now, that that's $2 million sitting in court that she asserts a claim to, and that she is a quote-unquote creditor. Why is her ability, interest, efforts to secure her interest in that $2 million hindered, delayed, defrauded in any way by the fact that they're currently being held, at least nominally, by the revocable trust? Can she reach them?
Right. Yes, Your Honor. I think she absolutely can reach them. And, that's why we cited that in our reply in the votable transfers motion, is because we think that position is diametrically opposed to the other positions that's been taken with respect to the motion for summary judgment, the cross motions for summary judgment. We think there's some conflict there. And so in the event, as we believe, that under the Utah code, she can directly access that under the arguments that have already been made, then the voidable transfer, I don't want to say it's not necessary, but I think there's a much clearer way to resolve the issues that are outstanding here instead of setting the transfer aside, if that makes sense.
I agree with the last part. I think with respect, everybody that's filed a motion here has asked for more relief than they're entitled to, if they're entitled to any. Your motion, though, seeks a ruling as a matter of law that this was, in fact, a voidable transfer and that it should be unwound, meaning nominal title to that $2 million should be held in the name of the estate of Eric Richins, not the revocable trust established by Eric Richins. Am I right about that?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. But it's the same from a creditor's perspective, right?
So he's saying,
whether you execute a judgment against the revocable trust or you execute it against the estate, there's no difference, is there?
Honestly, Your Honor, I think there may be some difference to a degree, but again, at the end of the day, based off of the defendant's position in the opposition, in which again we reiterate in the reply that it's accessible just simply under the statutes of the trust code, then I think we would agree with you that unwinding the transfer may not be necessary, or we may not even need to get there, simply because if Kouri is in fact a creditor, and I think that's the critical question here, and is admitted in the opposition, that if Kouri is a creditor and therefore has a claim for purposes of the statute, then really there's no need to go through this process of dealing with a voidable transfer, because there's a much more direct way of going about it.
Okay, I'm going to pause just for a second. Let me explain what's happening here. This is Kouri's lawyer, and their side, instead of saying, hey, we want to be a member of the trust and get some of the interest of this money, they're saying, actually, we think that the transfer of money that Eric made before he died, where he moved his $2 million, which Kouri was going to get, right, moved it to this trust, which she doesn't get, at least not directly. We think that that was an illegal move. We can unwind that, basically make it as if it never happened, put it back in Eric's name, then it goes to his estate, which would go to Kouri. So they're trying to reverse that, but the judge is saying, why do that if Kouri in the trust is a creditor? For some reason, she's treated the same as somebody else who's owed money, and she has just as much claim, whether it's in the trust or if it's in his estate, or if he holds it. So if she's a creditor, she can get either way. And so they're saying, well, as long as she can do that, we're okay with that, Judge. We wouldn't need to unwind it if that were the case. So that's where they're getting at right now.
I agree there's a more direct way. I think you may be reading too much into their concession. I read their brief as saying, we concede that she falls within the statutory definition of a creditor, not that Eric Richins had a business interest to transfer at the time of his death. He already transferred it in a way that doesn't breach the prenup.
Right. And I don't want to correct, I don't want to, say what their position is or any. I'm sure, they'll get up here. I do think they do dispute that Kouri's a creditor, though, in the briefing. I think they dispute that there's a creditor-debtor relationship that existed here under the underlying documents and the claims that have been asserted. It's very clear a creditor is an individual that has a claim, and the claim is defined very broadly under the Act. So we think, as a matter of law, Kouri is absolutely a creditor under the Voidable Transactions Act.
But given the breadth of the definition of creditor, isn't it true as a matter of law that you can be a creditor by virtue of an allegation rather than an adjudicated fact, right? That's
correct. Right, exactly right. The statutory language says it can be a disputed, unliquidated, contingent, right to payment. And so, clearly we say that Kouri is a creditor under these circumstances. But with respect to, my recollection is that the position that a transfer to a revocable trust can't constitute a, voidable transfer for purpose of the Act. My recollection is all the case law is foreign case law, nothing that would be specifically binding on this court. And at the end of the day, we cited case law, which I will mention as well, is from an outside jurisdiction, but we think it's illustrative that these types of revocable trusts can be used as an instrument to do exactly what what the Voidable Transaction Act seeks to avoid, which is to put things outside of the reach of creditors under that very broad definition. And specifically the Pandy case from Colorado that we cited, again, recognizing that it is not binding on this court, but it specifically addresses the idea that a debtor should not be able to have all the benefits associated with a revocable trust to the detriment of but be able to shield that from all the creditors.
Okay, so this I realize this is heavy. This is deep legal talk. First of all, Melon 1226, welcome to the gallery. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Make sure you take your seat. It's one of the perks of being a member. And Ellie Veldeman, thanks for gifting 5 memberships. Those went to Tracy Williams, William Fagan, Stevie, Short, sweet, to the point. Thank you. I love the name. And Kristen Fortunano. I'm going to get this right, Kristen. Christine Fortunato. I really tried. Effort counts for something. Okay, so they're going into a few more details about this. They're basically citing a law. I caught the prosecutor licking his lips, mid-lick. That's funny. Or the attorney. They're going into the law that's saying this law was created. This whole revocable transfer law was created to prevent somebody from doing what we think just happened. We think Eric moved the money away into this trust so that nobody could get it. And that's why the law exists. So you can't do that. So you can't have the benefit of the irrevocable trust just to hide the money from the creditors. That's not going to work.
If I read the Utah probate code correctly, there is no limitation on the post-death susceptibility of an asset that was contributed to a revocable trust during the testator's life to claims of creditors. It's as if it was just sitting in the estate of the individual, right?
I think you're correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes.
And so I think their argument was categorically, as a matter of law, transfers to a revocable trust cannot be within the purview of the Act. Now, in fairness to you, you say, all right, they're not in the purview of this section of the Act, but what about the no equivalent value? I mean, would you acknowledge there's at least an issue of fact as to whether or not $2 million is equivalent value? I don't know that I can grant summary judgment on that.
Could you clarify your question? An issue of fact on the value, on that value, or what do you mean?
Two different sections of the Act.
Right, correct.
Or two different, I guess we'll say, silos of the Act.
Right.
One is creditor, debtor, transfer with the intent to hinder, delay, defraud. Right. That'll be category number one. But then there's a second category of creditor, debtor, transfer, not for, is it equivalent value, substantial value?
I think it's reasonably equivalent value.
That would not be affected by the assignment, right? Or I guess that would not be affected by this argument related to categorically putting in a revocable trust. That's a separate issue, right?
Right, yeah, I think so, yes.
But here you are asking for summary judgment, meaning undisputed facts, ruling as a matter of law that this was in fact avoidable transfer. In order for me to rule in your favor on that second category of argument of the Act, I would have to rule as a matter of law that $2 million wasn't enough, right?
So that the $2 million was not. So let me make sure I understand your question, Your Honor. So under Section 203, I think is where we're operating this second group, right? In order for a transfer to be voidable, there needs to be. In fact, do you mind if I just pull it up? That might be the easiest. I don't want to misquote it here. Assuming my technology will work. There we go.
It's the loudest mouse pad ever. He's scrolling.
25.6.202.
So 202 is the actual intent to hinder, delay, or defraud, and 203, subsection 1, is that a transfer is voidable if the debtor made the transfer without receiving a reasonably equivalent value in exchange for the transfer, and 2, the debtor was insolvent at the time or became insolvent as a result of the transfer.
And what I see them saying is myriad issues of fact. You haven't proven it based on undisputed facts as a matter of law. What's your response to that?
Our response is they haven't provided any evidence any admissible evidence to the contrary, right?
You have the initial burden here of production and persuasion, and they're saying you haven't met it. Tell me why you haven't.
I think we met it, Your Honor, because first we have the testimony of our client as to the assets that were owned, that she was aware of at the time of the transfer. In addition, we have the additional debts that we know existed. I don't think there's any dispute as to at least the first mortgage debt. Certainly there's a dispute as to the second one right now. But even if you disregard the second mortgage, with respect to the first mortgage, they haven't identified, or we have come forth with evidence, testimony from our client, stating that Eric's assets did not exceed $200,000, but that his debts did exceed $200,000, and we have that demonstrated by solely the amount of the first mortgage on the house, right? So with that testimony and providing, the fact that debt existed at that time, we think we've met our initial burden to demonstrate that those were the amounts of Eric's assets, those are the amounts of his debts under the terms of the act that constitutes insolvency, and therefore.
Run those numbers by me one more time. I didn't hear you say the words $2 million.
Correct. I did not say the words $2 million. And I think here, because the focus is on the debtor receiving a reasonably equivalent value, so that would be Eric receiving value, not the trust, right?
Your entire argument, though, that he as trustee and he as individual are one and the same for the purposes of this analysis, and so if he as trustee is going to receive $2 million from the buy-sell, he as individual receives it as well?
To a degree, yes, Your Honor. I don't know that we would say that it's, yes, we think functionally it is one and the same, but again, we are taking the arguments that we've received from the other side that there is this distinction here, right? And so, had the position been taken that, or without the initial position that the fact that Eric did not have, possess, or own this upon his death. If that position was not taken, it's highly unlikely we would have brought this motion in the first place.
Okay, just a brief pause here. One more reason you want to hire a lawyer. Okay, if any of you are sitting here and listening to this and saying, "Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I follow this conversation." That you probably should be a lawyer. Okay, this is so deep into the legal intricacies of the law, intent, and just exceptions and everything else. You have to be an expert to handle this. And if you think you can just go up and just represent yourself in a situation like this, especially, you're going to get just run over. The wheels of justice will turn, and you will end up chewed up and spit out on the backside. So this is intense. The judge has obviously done some preparation, reading about this. The attorneys obviously have prepared for a long time about this. The state law is a freaking minefield, says Mr. Uppertor. So, yeah, there's a lot to it, and every state's different. It's hard. It would be very difficult to be an expert in multiple states on this, just because of the differences in the law, how much information you'd have to retain in your head for this. But we're gonna switch soon. He's gonna get some input from some of the other attorneys, and we'll hear some of the other arguments about why they should get the $2 million.
Let's talk about the prenup for a second.
Okay.
I understand your argument to be by executing the assignment, Eric breaches the breach to the prenup by effectively diluting Kouri's interest in buy-sell proceeds by 75%. Right?
Correct.
Could Eric have sold his interest during his lifetime in C&E for $500,000 without breaching the prenup?
I think he probably could have, and I think that's where the distinction comes into play. I guess to clarify my previous answer to your former question is we haven't alleged necessarily that it's a breach of the prenup in this case yet. I think the argument is more that irrespective of Eric's transfer to the trust, the prenup remains binding and therefore is still enforceable against the trustee of the trust.
Well, wait. If the answer to my question is he could have sold his interest for $500,000 without breaching the prenup, how is that different than what he affected by the assignment and the buy-sell agreement?
I think with respect to the assignment, the distinction here is that if he just went ahead and sold it to a third party, then you have a third-party purchaser who, presumably took for value, took for consideration, and therefore would have all the defenses and rights associated therewith. Frankly, if it was sold to a third party, I don't know that our argument remains the same or stands here today, right? Under these circumstances, though, Eric essentially transferred the interest to himself as the trustee, right? So it's different. Our position is different and distinct than a sale or a transfer to some sort of a third party.
Well, he transferred it to himself as trustee, pursuant to an agreement that maintained an interest in Kouri, albeit 25% of which he had the moment before he did. But if he can choose the sales price, how is it effectively different?
And I guess I'm not sure. Could you explain the 25% versus 75%? Maybe I'm missing something here.
There are 4 beneficiaries.
Okay, understood.
That table's version of it. There's
gotcha.
one under yours. There's $2 million at stake.
Gotcha.
So he can sell it for $500K. Why can't he do what he did?
Again, it's a fair question, Your Honor, and I think it's not necessarily in terms of what he could or couldn't do, but the fact that he transferred it to the trust or himself as the trustee, and the prenup specifically imposes those rights and obligations to successors and assigns, and so in that capacity, we would say that it's still enforceable as to the defendant in this case.
Could Eric have donated his business interest in C&E during his lifetime to a charitable organization? Come to the spitting hypothetical here. Come to the conclusion that, you know what, I'm done working. This has been great. I'm going to go be a hunting guide. I'm going to donate my interest in C&E, this thing I worked so hard to build. to the church, to the nonprofit organization that maintains open lands for hunters and fishermen. Could he have done that?
I think potentially he could have. Do I think that there are still potential claims that arise therewith? Yes. And I mean, it's difficult to...
What would the claim be?
Well, I mean...
It's his sole and personal property by the four corners of the prenup. He can do whatever he wants with it during his lifetime, right? If it increases in value, Kouri has no claim to that increase during his lifetime. I guess what I'm trying to ask is, why doesn't that give him the full authority to alienate it during his lifetime?
Right, and again, it's I think it's a fair question, and it's difficult to state in these hypotheticals, particularly when, you know, given the amount of work that's gone into this business, the idea of donating it to a charitable contribution, sure, it's possible, right? But again, at the end of the day, we think it comes back down, if you look at the plain terms, yes, it is unequivocally, during his lifetime, it is going to be his sole and separate property with this single contingency, correct? And we believe that that contingency occurred in this place, and that the transfer to the trust, I mean the effective transfer to himself, perhaps may be the only circumstances where we would be bringing the claims that we're bringing, but don't think that that undermines the validity of those claims.
Okay. I understand your position.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, one down. Next one in the hot seat.
Counsel.
Yes, Your Honor.
Start with the last issue. Well, actually, no. Start with the voidable transfer.
The voidable transfer?
Yeah.
Well, Your Honor, we agree that the problem with the voidable transfer, it doesn't fit the facts of this case. It doesn't fit. A voidable transfer is a remedy for creditors to get at assets that debtors have tried to put outside their reach. As you mentioned, and we've cited in 75-7505, it's very clear under the trust code that assets held in a revocable trust are subject to the claims of the creditor during the grantor's lifetime.
What about the Section 203?
Well, so 203, now that, and I do think it's important to look at the difference between Section 202 and 203. To remind ourselves, on Section 202, that's where you have a claim that arose either before or after the transfer. I don't see how Kouri could have possibly had a claim before the transfer, but we could talk about that.
The prenup was in existence before the transfer.
Right, but what claim did she have?
Well, it would be a contingent claim that by this transfer you are undermining that which you agreed to in the prenup. Now, we have a whole colloquy I just got into with Mr. Nate about the fact that you could have done it anyways, but
exactly.
The Act provides a different overlay.
It does, but I think it's an important point to talk about whether she was a creditor, whether she had a claim, and if so, was her claim before or after the transfer? I think that, and we do take the position that she wasn't a creditor, that she didn't have a claim. But let's take your hypothetical. Before the transfer to his trust, let's say he sells it for $500,000 to a third party. Does Kouri have a claim?
Maybe the $500K. I think that's what Mr. Davis
says.
That's traceable at this point.
The question is, though, did he breach the prenup? And I think, as Your Honor noted, he could have done anything with it. So our position is there was no breach of the prenup because Eric wasn't obligated to keep it in place for her. If Kouri was worried that he might do something like sell it, she could have negotiated that as a part of the prenup. She didn't.
But in fairness, and without naming names, I'll give you an example that's come up in a divorce case in Summit County. Husband transfers an asset to a third party, gets a divorce, reacquires the asset. It looks like a sham. The Act applies to that situation.
Absolutely.
And
if
so
you can meet the elements.
The case, why wouldn't, I mean, we can't say that the Act doesn't apply categorically if, for example, spinning hypothetical here, Eric transfers his business interest in C&E to a third party for $100 or $1 after
That's much
his
less than
death,
its value.
his estate, the trust, maybe his kids reacquire it for $1. It starts to look a little more shady. And so that didn't happen here, I acknowledge. But in terms of trying to determine whether or not the act can apply to the facts of this case, why don't we have to contend with Section 203?
Well, let's look at 203. We don't think she's a creditor under 202 or 203. And the reason is because the prenup did not restrict Eric in any way from disposing of his asset. And that governs. If he had disposed of it, she wouldn't have a claim. So we don't think she's a creditor. That's our position. But let's look at 203. 203 applies for claims that arise before the transfer, not after, and if the transfer was done without reasonably equivalent value and you're insolvent. Well, first of all, when you make a transfer to your revocable trust, well, and particularly in this case, the trust says all of those assets, every penny, are available for Eric's use. They cannot show it wasn't for reasonably equivalent value, because if he
Okay, so I think either Zoe just clicked on the screen, or we're done with the big part of the video, and we're done with the big part. Okay, so give me just 1 second. We're getting to part 2, which is smaller. I want to watch this part 2 because we get the third person talking, right? The third person is the lawyer for the kids, and she throws a wrench in the works just a little bit, and it surprises the judge. So hold on just 1 second. Let's bring this over here. Let's see. So this guy, the guy who's talking right now, sorry, let me make sure that's on the screen. Yeah, the guy who's talking right now is representing the estate. So this would be maybe Eric's family, their interest. Obviously, the kids would probably have some interest in this, but it would also go to other people as well. So we'll see how this plays out. And this is bizarre that there's a murder trial also in the works in the background in the same courtroom. With some of these same players.
His Eric's sole separate property to do with as he pleased. It seems to me, Your Honor, what Kouri wants is the court to ignore well-established principles of trust law that allow someone to transfer legal title to assets from themselves individually to a trustee. Your Honor, it wouldn't, let me use an example. If Eric, instead of transferring it to his revocable trust, had decided to create a limited liability company, Eric Richins LLC, and he's the sole member, would we be having this discussion? Maybe. They would have to say, well,
The body language from getting to that table is yes.
well, okay, but what would they have to do to get there? They'd have to say, well, for that, you can just Your Honor, just ignore. You have to ignore the corporate structure of the LLC because he's a single member. Well, that's not the law. An LLC is a separate legal entity, and the law recognizes it as such. It's really not much different with a trust. A trustee of a trust holds the legal title for the benefit of the beneficiaries. Real property, and in fact, in this case, the real property transferred from being owned by Eric to being owned by the trustee of his trust. Again, the fact that he was his own trustee doesn't make a difference.
So when I look at the list of relief you're asking for, I think it's different than what you're arguing in favor of. It seems to be what you're arguing in favor of is a ruling as a matter of law that the assignment by Eric of his business interest to his trust in February 2021 was effective and was not a breach of the prenup.
Right.
Full stop. Right?
Yes, but, footnote,
Yeah.
even if it were a breach of the prenup, who's her claim against? It's not against the trust. It would be against Eric. And I'm here to tell you, Your Honor, they have not brought a claim against Eric Richins for breach of the prenup.
I think what they're saying is the assignment is valid because he didn't have the authority to do it because he'd already agreed and they're going to hold some interest or hold the going business.
Well, Your Honor, having an assignment or a contract or any other agreement not be effective is a completely different story than breaching it. There's no suggestion that it's not effective. It could be a breach.
Pause for a second. You keep taking on more water than you need to, and I don't understand why. For example, you're asking
to help him
a
out.
rule that the trust proceeds shall be distributed in accordance with the terms of the trust agreement. Lord knows what kind of equitable or other fiduciary duty arguments are sitting out there. Why would I make that ruling today? Isn't the only thing that's before me today is, does the trust hold the $2 million, period? Or is, no, the $2 million is in his estate?
We are perfectly satisfied with the ruling that the trust owns the $2 million.
Okay. And then the parties litigate whatever arguments they have beyond that after today, right?
Fair enough.
Okay.
That's what he wants. He wants the $2 million to belong to
By
the trust.
the briefing, less than the introductions to the briefs, I think that's the proper result today. Do you see it differently?
No, we'd be satisfied with that result.
Okay. All right, let me hear from Ms. Chandler.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes Miss Chandler. She's representing the kids. Okay.
I was not a party to this when these briefs started, so I will keep it short. There is an extra avenue I think we need to look at, though, the facts of which have arisen since the original briefing, and it's this. Eric died on March 4th, 2022, and under Utah Probate Section 75-3-803, Kouri had a year from the date of his death or 60 days from receiving written notice or notice of publication to present a claim to the estate. While she did initially timely file a notice of claim in the estate case, that claim was solely based on the allegations made in the trust complaint. There are no personal allegations against Eric. These claims were then disallowed by the PR on April 12, 2023. Utah Code Section 75-3-804 subsection 2 requires that a proceeding be commenced within 60 days after the personal representative has mailed the disallowance of claim. To date, there is no proceeding that's been initiated and the time to do so has passed. So,
this has not been briefed.
It has not, Your Honor.
I just want to make sure I understand, don't see where things are headed. So,
This is the curveball. She's like, hey.
If Kouri doesn't have
the
it.
moment Eric dies, right, the business interests, the buy-sell proceeds, which have not been liquidated yet but are coming, are either in his personal estate or in the trust.
Yes.
Your side of the room says in the trust.
They are in the trust.
The trust gets administered according to its terms. Kouri doesn't have to make any claims, right?
She does have to make a claim if she's going to contend a fraudulent transfer, because Eric has to be the debtor. So on all sections of...
But if it's in his estate, this is where you're telling me some deadlines with harsh results kick in.
That's correct. If she didn't make a claim but in the estate and pursue it within 60 days of receiving that notice of disallowance, those claims are now barred.
When you say claim, is that her argument under the Act?
It would be a claim that she has any claim against Eric, right? Whether it's breach of the prenuptial agreement, breach of the duty of good faith and fair dealing.
I see.
So without those, a claim on that she owns half the house. Without those, there can be no debtor-creditor relationship, Your Honor. And every section of the Utah Voidable Transaction Act requires a debtor-creditor relationship as a predicate to asserting the claim.
With the, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I'll understand if you're not prepared to answer. This is...
They are today.
I'm not going to make any rulings on this today, Mr. But if the house is in the trust, we just apply the trust, right? Subject to acknowledge there's a Slater statute issue sitting out there.
She can make a claim as to whether she's a tenant in common with the trust.
Right.
But to the extent she has some claim against Eric as a debtor, she's lost that.
Okay. You're going to have to brief that. I can't rule today.
That's fair.
Talk to me about the arguments that were briefed. Anything to add on those?
I think that the argument, there's a valid transfer here. To the extent that that transfer did something that the prenup, I think on the face, the prenup allows for that. To the extent that that violated, I think the only issue would be a duty of good faith and fair dealing. As to Eric or some other frustrates the purpose of the contract, those claims were against Eric personally, and they need to be brought against him personally. I don't know if you can, I don't think that claim goes against the trust, because the trust would be the same as a third-party transferee for the purposes of this. She didn't have a vested interest, and Eric could do what he wanted with this. And so when he transferred it to the trust, it was a valid transfer. It sits in the trust unless she can avoid it somehow. She can't avoid it through the Fraudulent Transfer Act because she's not a debtor.
The condition precedent hasn't kicked in yet?
Because, yes.
But the definition of claim talks about contingent claims.
Can't be contingent. At best, she had a contingent, unliquidated claim that can now never be liquidated because it's time barred.
Okay, so she's got some powerful arguments, and the other attorneys are like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
Let's just go around the table one more time here. Mr. Nate.
Can I just take 1 minute, Your Honor, very briefly?
Sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Take your moment.
The judge is like, wow, this is interesting.
I'll keep it brief. So just with respect to the argument that was just made, the claim was disallowed, and then we did file a lawsuit against the estate. That is case number 230500230. It's also in front of you as well. Has not been served yet, but that action has been commenced, and in order to preserve, the claims that have just been served. So I want to make sure that was clear for the record that after the disallowance, we did file a lawsuit within the statutory time period.
Okay. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Tracy.
No, Your Honor. As far as the issue about the claim, I don't think that's before the court today.
It's not.
We'll deal with that.
She surprised him. She slid that in without letting anyone know. Okay, so now the judge is going to rule on the three motions that are actually in front of him. And, well, we might have to dig deeper into to really understand what they mean.
All right, the procedural posture of today's hearing bears noting. We're here on 3 motions for partial summary judgment. No matter what I do today, it does not dispose of all claims between the parties. There will be more litigation after today. With respect to plaintiff's motion for summary judgment on plaintiff's 7th claim for relief, which requests a ruling as a matter of law that Eric Richins' transfer of his assets into his trust should be avoided, and that Kouri is entitled to exercise any and all remedies, including those available to her under Utah's Voidable Transactions Act, with respect to those assets. The motion is denied.
She doesn't get the money
for the following reasons. First, with respect to the portion of plaintiff's 7th claim for relief that is brought under Section 202 of Utah's Voidable Transaction Act, the court rules as a matter of law that because a transfer into a revocable trust does not place assets beyond the reach of a creditor, that a Section 202 claim does not apply as a matter of law to a situation where assets have been transferred into a revocable trust.
Okay, so let me pause this for just a second.
With respect to any portion of...
So he's saying, Kouri Richins and her attorneys tried to sue, saying, we want you to say that Eric's transfer of $2 million into his trust was wrong. It was in an effort to hide it from a creditor, from me, and so you have to reverse that, make it as if that transfer never happened, put it back into his estate so it goes to Kouri. And he's saying, no, I'm not going to do that because the money, you saying I'm a creditor, I was owed this, you still have access to it through the trust. There's no difference whether it's there or here. You have the same access to it if you're saying you're a creditor. So that part is denied. So she doesn't just get the $2 million.
A 7th claim for relief that is asserted under Section 203 of Utah's Voidable Transactions Act. The motion is respectfully denied because plaintiff has not yet carried her burden of showing through undisputed facts supported by evidence in the record the insolvency and or failure to receive reasonably equivalent value elements of that claim. Therefore, plaintiff's motion for summary judgment on plaintiff's 7th claim for relief, docket 241, is denied.
Okay, and I don't know the intricacies of that, of the 203 law, but it was basically another reason why they wanted the same outcome. And they said, no, she hasn't proven the elements. She hasn't carried the burden. She hasn't proven that, so we're going to deny that motion. It's basically like asking the judge to rule before you've given the evidence. It may rise again if she's able to prove that through other filings, and that may come up. But right now, he said you haven't done that yet. So Kouri lost twice.
Summary judgment, which is docket number 7, and defendant's motion for partial summary judgment, which is docket 249, are related. Plaintiff asked for a ruling as a matter of law that Kouri is the sole legal and equitable owner of the business interest, otherwise known as the $2 million in buy-sell proceeds, that the trust holds no interest right or title to or in the business interest, and that Kouri is the sole and proper recipient and owner of the business interest and any proceeds that are derived from the liquidation of that business interest.
Kouri says, all the money belongs to me. Everything the business worked, I own. I should have that. It shouldn't belong to the trust.
Again, the $2 million of the buy-sell proceeds that are currently being held in the court's trust account. Firstly, defendant seeks a ruling as a matter of law that CME's operating agreement prevented the transfer or pledge of the business interest, that the prenuptial agreement with its attempted pledging of the business interest is unenforceable, that the assignment that occurred in February of 2021 is valid, binding, and operated to transfer the business interest to the trust, and that the trust is entitled to receive the proceeds from any sale of the business interest, after which those proceeds shall be distributed in accordance with the terms of the trust agreement.
Yeah, the state says it goes to the trust.
Based upon undisputed facts in the record, the court rules as a matter of law the plaintiff's motion for partial summary judgment, docket number 7, is denied, and defendant's motion for partial summary judgment, docket 249, is granted in part and denied in part as follows. The court rules as a matter of law that the assignment of Eric's interest in C&E in February 2021 to his revocable trust is valid and operated to transfer his interest in C&E to the trust. Moreover, the court rules as a matter of law that the trust is entitled to receive the proceeds, that is the buy-sell proceeds of $2 million related to that business interest.
Okay, so the trust gets the money. Okay, so this is a win for the trust right now, but there's going to be a denied part as well we're going to look into. So Kouri lost 3 times. Okay, 3 times she hasn't got it. It doesn't mean the battle's over. And just realize this battle, or battles like this, happen every single day in court. Every single day, there's a divorce happens, and the 2 sides are fighting over money. These sort of battles, especially when it comes to businesses, these happen all the time. If there's like a partnership that breaks up, lots of money is at stake and goes back and forth, and judges have to rule on this. The interesting thing about this case is this happens at the same time that one of the parties that's saying, "Hey, I have the right to that money," is accused of killing the other party. Okay, this is what makes this a little unique. And so the people that are here in court are family members who are grieving the loss of their son or their brother or their father, as the case may be, and also simultaneously defending themselves against the accused murderer trying to get claim on all their son's money or all that person's money. So this is playing out all at the same time, and the cases are overlapping. It's bizarre.
The defendant's motion for partial summary judgment is otherwise denied.
Would you like us to prepare an order, Your Honor?
Please.
We will.
Mr. Nate, the motion is to stay. I appreciated your email. How do you want to handle this?
Your Honor, I think we are in discussions. I think we're close to reaching an agreement. It would be helpful, though, if we could get something on the calendar down the road, just in case those discussions fall apart.
There's another summary judgment here in County, isn't there?
In this case, no.
We have summary judgment motions pending, but Your Honor, stay those until we have this hearing.
My calendar may be out of date. Give me just a moment. Well, this has been ambiguous, but my calendar shows that we have a hearing on October 18th at 1:30 p.m. in case ending 049?
That's not right.
Is that the estate case?
Nothing later.
It says in 076.
What's that?
Is that the criminal case?
No. Hold on. Hopefully I'm not embarrassing myself here. Let's take a look.
You are.
We think that's an unrelated case.
Maybe so. Yes, you're right. My apologies. A lot of Richins in Southern County. My apologies.
It's some other
I
Richins.
apologize for that. Okay, Mr. Nate, to your point, I'm going to let you folks talk for another week or two, and then tell me whether I want to put a hearing on the calendar or not. I am cautiously optimistic you'll be able to work it out. If you're unable to, file a request to submit. Tell me what you're asking for. I'll work it. Perfect. Understood.
Fair enough.
Mr. Tracy, no objection.
No objection.
Ms. Chandler.
No objection.
Okay. What are the case management deadlines that remain in this case?
Well, yeah, to that point, Your Honor, we've agreed that while we're negotiating on this stay, that we're going to extend the fact discovery deadline out. It's currently the end of this month, but we'll come up with something that makes sense and kind of depends on what we agree on the stay.
Fair enough. Is that correct, Mr. Nate?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Tracy, anything else today?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Chandler?
Nothing for me.
Mr. Nate?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Counsel, I wish you and your clients the very best. Please
Thank
take
you.
care. Court's in recess.
All rise.
Okay. So I realized this was a heavy hearing, okay, as far as just data goes. I'm going to turn the sound off here. Okay, so everyone's going to be filing out here. The judge made a couple decisions. Basically, the Kouri Richins, the two on the far right that they're shaking hands with, the blue and the lady Elvira, those are Kouri's lawyers, and they want the $2 million. They want all of it. Assign it all to Kouri, not split with the kids, not split with anyone else. She wants 100% of that money. The lawyer right there on the left, in black, is the representative for the kids, and she's saying, "Hey, guess what? You guys are fighting over all this, but has anyone noticed that you actually missed the deadline? And now under Utah law, you have no right to any claim to the money, and it's basically going to go to the kids are going to get a huge portion of it." And so the judge was like, whoa, this is the first I've heard about this. Nobody's brought this up. And so she's going to have to make a filing and present that to the court. She's going to brief that, and we'll see. So that's another motion that's going to be playing out as she presents that side, and the different interests are going to have to argue or support that depending on how they like it. But so this is all playing out as this, Eric had a fair amount of money. They had, both a home as well. I guess 2 homes, 2 mortgages. There's a lot of money at play here, and arguably it was part of the reason that the defendant allegedly killed Eric was for the money, so she could have full control over the money because Eric wouldn't let her buy what she wanted, specifically this awful house. I mean, you've seen the pictures of the house. We'll show them later when the trial begins, but. Sydney's Crazy says, why is that not working? There it is. I appreciate your translation from legalese to common tongue so I can understand what's going on. The important thing to know is that they're fighting over money, and one of them is accused of murder. And so it just seems wrong right now. I mean, just a common person looks at this and says, can't we figure out if she's guilty of murder first before we decide if she gets the money? But that's not necessarily the way the law works. So we have to see. The law is going to work its way out and work its way through things, and we'll see how it happens. Now, it's possible that she could win the money and then turn around and have to pay some sort of compensation and lose it again. But let's see. Diet Coke Mama says, hello, ladies. How's your morning going? To Britta Aller and Samantha Terry. I'll just insert myself in there and say my morning's great, even though I'm not a lady. But welcome. This is not far from your neck of the woods. This is up in Summit County, Utah, this case. And there's a chance, now that we're in the jury pool for sure on this one, flying out there is a lot more likely. But for that to work, we need to have the date be very firm that this thing isn't going to push. So we're going to have to watch the filings and just see if this really is going to move forward on the schedule that it is and that everyone's okay with that. So we're going to keep a close eye on this case and see if we can get out there or not. But we'll see. I'm loving the fact that kids are represented by a competent lawyer. Yeah, when there's, Here's the fact, Red Pen, and also there's a sad side to this. When there's money at play, there's money for lawyers. But when there's not a lot left, there's no money to pay a lawyer, and oftentimes somebody's interest is not well represented or very poorly represented or not represented at all. Mrs. R.A. says, I might have missed this. Hey, Mrs. R.A., but doesn't the fact that she's being tried in her husband's murder possibly for this money weigh in on whether or not she gets the money? This has to do with their stay, their agreements of the schedule. And they talked about it at the end. They're working out a schedule of, hey, this is when we think we should resolve this. And obviously one of the factors is the murder. So we'll see which one gets sorted out first. Is Kouri out on bail? No, she's in custody. Jennifer Smith. She appears in handcuffs every time she appears, and generally she's quite tearful when she's in court. She looks small, like huddled down, looks very much oppressed type thing, and very tearful. She wanted to get out. She wanted to be out on bail, and that's not going to happen. Okay. I think there's a slayer statute that doesn't allow her to benefit from the crime. I believe so as well, but she has to be convicted first. And so hopefully they'll hold the final decision on this money until the court case that determines her guilt or innocence plays out. They're not letting the two lawsuits intertwine, keeping them separate is what they're trying to do. Yeah, don't have to be a big person if you kill with poison, very hands off. And that's the allegation, is that she used fentanyl, which, if you remember, that was I think that was the cause of death in Michael Jackson's death. Of course, there's allegations that he took it willingly, but just being exposed to fentanyl, police officers have become very sick and even died from exposure to fentanyl. And he was allegedly exposed to a lot of it. Let's see. I was getting to you, says Diet Coke Mama. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So that's the case where we're at right now. I will tell you that we are waiting anxiously for the 8th Circuit District Court in Nevada to reply. This is the Widower case. We've been doing all our homework. We started yesterday as we were talking about this case and talking about this guy. He's got the 6 wives, and that 4 of them have been unalived apparently by him. The stats are bad. I would just say, ladies, I would not pursue this one, even if he's available. It's not good. Oh, propofol. Thank you. Not fentanyl. My bad. Anyway, the case is moving forward. The judge, Tiara Jones, is going to hear this one. It's starting next week. We've got our timely application in for media access. I'm going to be contacting the contact from the media as soon as they send me the information. And we're going to see how we can best get that information. Let's see, it's 10 o'clock now. Let's see if the court's already handled this. Okay. I think they're just getting started for the day. I'm not seeing anything from the court yet, but hopefully we can get that access. I'm really optimistic about this because of Nevada's laws about media and access that way. Thank you for the corrections on the propofol. Appreciate that. She owes a lot of people a lot of money. Yeah, charming dude, really, and he's quite elderly. Honestly, he's getting up there in years. I'm not saying his age is high, but he looks very old. Like his body is very old. 6 wives. I missed that yesterday. Not all at the same time, Lizzie Dog. Not all at the same time, but one after another, and they did not survive long. Groggy and Foggy, good morning from California, says Twubble. Good to have you here, Twubble. Can someone fill me on the Kohberger alibi? I missed it. I'm at work. Jennifer Smith, we can. His alibi, in a nutshell, first of all, he complains that he has to even offer the alibi, even though Idaho law says you have to tell us what it is. If you say you have an alibi, you have to tell us what it is. You have to say where you were and who's going to corroborate your story. And so he goes out and he says, okay, I'll tell you. First of all, I don't want to tell you, but I'll tell you. And I can do this and still retain my right to stay silent. So I'm not turning over my right to stay silent. So you can't force me to testify or anything, but I'll tell you, and I'll tell you that I like to drive by myself late at night. And that's what I was doing. I was out driving by myself late at night. And that arguably is what the state is going to prove first, is that Bryan Kohberger was out by himself driving at night, and that we have the evidence to prove that he was there. So he basically admits a large part of the facts that put him potentially in the space where the murder took place. But he hasn't introduced the key elements of the alibi, which is a requirement, which is somebody who can say, yes, that's where he was. I can vouch for him. And instead he said, I think some expert witness in this trial, some of the experts, maybe even the state's own expert, okay, he has the gall to say this, maybe even the state's own expert is going to come out and prove that I wasn't there. So we might get that, but we're sort of hampered by the fact that the state, is slow and they're giving us information. But let's just say that the state is probably going to provide the corroborating witness for us. What an arrogant SO. Oh, never mind. Seriously, that to say that is on par. That's equivalent to our Sovsit guy the other day, who's like, I'm going to defend myself in court, and my only witness is going to be the police officer that arrested me. And that's basically what he's doing. He's saying the state's own expert witness is going to prove that I wasn't there. Don't think that's going to happen. Anyway, Georgia Culture says, I was wondering what BK had to do with this. We divided the day. If you look at the thumbnail, we sort of drew a line down the middle and said BK's on one side, and we've got Kouri Richins on the other, just to talk about that. It's not an alibi. An alibi has to have a location of where you are, and a person that says, I can verify that they were at that location. Those are the two elements of the alibi you need to have. And it basically says, I was out driving, but I wasn't there. I was anywhere but there, and I don't have anyone that can vouch for him. But we anticipate there will be some witnesses that will corroborate. So it's not an alibi, but it's close, and it's what the state has, or what the defense has said. We've met the burden now. You told us we had to tell you what the alibi was, and we did. And don't ask us anymore. And the state is probably going to object and say, that wasn't an alibi. It didn't have the proper elements. So if you're really going to go through with an alibi and have that be your defense, you need to tell us what it is. So we'll see some more action on that. So his alibi that he was alone on his own recognizance, really he was just out there on his own driving, as people do at night when murders happen. Okay, why he was reluctant to admit it. Probably why he was reluctant to admit it. I just so happened to turn off my cell phone when the murders were committed. Complete coincidence, Bradley. The turning off the cell phone, it helps in that it no longer records data during those times, so we don't get the pings from his phone pulling up to the area. But at the same time, it shows, we can look at his phone and see when other times he's turned it off. Like my phone, the number of times I've turned it off, I think if you count the minutes I've had my phone turned off in my lifetime since I bought the phone, I don't think it would add up to an hour. Okay, that my phone's always on, whether it might be in like standby mode or sleep mode or something, and I just click a button and it's there. But actually powering off, like sliding the bar over and saying power off, and kill the power, almost never. And even the brief times I do it, I turn it right back on. It's like, it needs to reset, so I can just shut down something that's not working properly. And most people's phones are the same way. And so here you have Bryan Kohberger with his phone, and suddenly one day on the day of the murders, he turns the phone off. And it just disappears. There's no record. And then after the murders are done, he turns the phone back on and drives back home. It's gonna be interesting. I think the Lisk case has taken away some public attention from BK. The state is really grasping at straws. Jenny, tell me more about that. Do you think he's not? Do you think he's not guilty? So is it RH? Was that his initials? Because I was listening to Weather Watch. Who did you refer us to last night? The YouTuber. I was watching he's a guy from Ireland, and he has a fun little accent. I was watching one of his videos last night. I was talking with Weather Watch. Mrs. RA and I were last night.
Podcast 8 p.m. EST plus special guests. Be there or else.
Yes, special guests Brandy and JT are going to be on the podcast tonight here on this channel. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be fun. Thank you very much, Keshet, for the reminder. 8 p.m. tonight on this channel. Fun podcast with some of the my favorite people on the internet. All right. What is the Lisk case? Lisk is Long Island serial killer. I think that's what we're going to go with. RH are the initials of the Rex. I can't remember his name, but those are the initials of the defendant. He was an architect up there, lived near the area, worked in downtown Manhattan. Anyway, if Weatherwatch is here, he'll tell me. He might be busy though. Let's see. That chapter, Mike, thank you. I was watching That Chapter on YouTube. This is an Irish guy who puts together some videos. He did a video on the Long Island serial killer a long time ago, and now that they've actually made an arrest, he sort of revisited it. And I watched that video. Apparently, the police had a ton of evidence just sitting there in the file that they didn't pursue. And then recently, change of employers or change of management, they reopened the case and looked at it and dug into some of the evidence and basically had enough to find the dude. And just put 1 and 2 together. You got the description, you got his vehicle, what did he drive? Like a Chevy Avalanche or something like that. You've got the pings of the phones, the burner phones where the phone calls were made from. And he basically says they're made from 2 locations. One's in downtown Manhattan, one's over here in this town, this residential area, which basically says that somebody lives here and works there. And so they've got these pieces they put together. They've got his description, they've got his size. They know that he's sort of affluent or has a nice job and a nice car. And eventually Rex Huerman, that's him, RH. Anyway, they put all the pieces together and now they've got DNA and everything else as well. Why not just call that one Gilgo Beach? Eileen, Gilgo Beach is the location the bodies were found at. That's part of Long Island. And anything that puts serial killer in the title is more catchy. That's why the Long Island serial killer sort of took hold. Interesting case just because it took so much time to find the bodies, and they actually found the first body while looking for someone else. Interesting. They made a GoFundMe for the ex-wife. They raised over $25,000 already. What, Ashley? Which case is this for? For the GoFundMe? Let's see. The ex-wife of Rex. Let's see. His wife's DNA was on the victim. So weird. I thought it was like strands of her hair or something were on the victim. But I believe the state's going to try to say that he would pick up these victims who were workers in the in the sex world. He'd pick them up and take them to his house, where apparently he'd kill them there and then dump the bodies, which could explain some of the DNA. Yeah, Mr. Upper Torso, that's exactly it. True crime junkie says, I shed hair too much. I can never be a good criminal because I'd leave evidence everywhere. Didn't they hear they have 7 terabytes? 7 terabytes of, yes, terabytes, not terabytes. It's an important distinction. Kim, a terabyte is a ton of data. My laptop that I have here can hold 1 terabyte, and I've used this for years. I've stored video. I've got days and days and days of video on here, 4K video, you name it. I've got all sorts of stuff on here, and still have probably at least 25% free, and it won't be full for probably another 2 years. But they have 7 terabytes of data on that, which is massive amounts. And for that reason alone, this trial is not going to be happening right away. As much as we'd like to have him, quickly in court and see justice, defense needs to have time to watch everything. Let's see. Now in stock, we have Ladies Pickles Not Politics shirts. Yes, we do. We have those. We've got a couple different shirts in there. If you can scroll around, apparently the store only lets me show a couple items on the shelf, but we have a whole ton. But you have to browse through to find them in the store. The Celebrite data, that's going to be a ton of that for all the different phones. Can you imagine coming home and finding out your spouse is a serial killer? So crazy. Yeah, no, Britt, I can't. I cannot see that even happening. With his owning property in Nevada and South Carolina, I think they need to look at murders in those areas that are unsolved. Jackie, definitely. They've got these 4 connections, the 4 in this case, but there are other bodies they found, even there on Gilgo Beach in that same island area that they have not yet been able to link to him. Let's see. Ashley says, I sent you a new merch idea before Mrs. R.A. likes it. Let's see. You send it on the burner phone? Is the Gilgo Beach, is that, let me see if I can see what's the status with that hearing. Press conference, sorry. Okay, I would say if you want to watch the press conference, I think Brandy is covering it, so that might be a great place to watch the press conference right there. You said it on here, Ashley. Sorry, I missed it. Let's see. Let me scroll up and see if I found it. Did you tag me in it? Not eating the pizza crust was a crime in itself. Is that the have that on a shirt? I'm looking for it. Hang on. You might have to send it again, Ashley. And tag me in it here. They're still trying to match up Gacy's victims. This many years later, they've identified 3 more. Are we covering anything else today? Hey, oh. Don't shoot. He's going to shoot. Not point blank, though. Not in the face. I'm being held up by a gangster with a skull mask and a Nerf gun. He's got safety glasses on. Why don't I have the safety glasses on? If you're going to shoot at me, okay, you can go over there and you can take one shot at me, but I need the glasses on to protect me.
It's hard to tip. Feel the tips.
Okay, don't shoot me in the face then. Oh man, this is going to hurt a lot. Okay, aim for the body. Aim for the body.
Aim for the butt.
Or don't aim for the butt. It needs to cock it. Hang on. Oh, he got me. Hey, get that away. Sorry. Happy birthday, little bud.
Happy birthday, me.
Happy birthday, me, he says. All right. I said it again, says Ashley. I'm looking. Ashley, hang on. I got message retracted. I said it on here. Somebody's leaving me a message. Hang on.
There's a lawsuit.
Ashley, are you retracting it? Send it to the burner phone. I cannot see where the message is. Witnessing a crime live. No. No last words. I'm going to get that. It's going to happen again and again. Demonetized. It was a center mass shot, and it was direct, like right on the rib cage. Okay. Actually, I want to see your text. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh, wait, this is somebody else. I have a phone call. Hang on. Hello?
Right.
Yes.
All right. Hi, my name is John, and I'm from National Travel. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Actually, I'm calling you right now because this is in regards to a large amount of travel credits that you have on file with us. So now my job here is to close up all the expired accounts. All right.
I'm having a hard time hearing you. It sounds fuzzy. What was it?
How about now? Can you hear me better?
It's like it's a bad connection. I have a travel credit, you said? Oh, that's a little better.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Wonderful. I
So
asked
now,
you to call back.
do you
Yes.
see yourself travel?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, I talked over you. Go ahead.
Yeah, do you see yourself traveling in the future at some point?
Yes, I do.
All right, perfect. So can I have your time so that I can go over what you have here?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Now, by the way, I'm speaking to Mr. Bourne, right?
Dwayne, yes.
Dwayne Bourne. All right. Your first name here is Dwayne.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, again, my job here is to close out all the expired accounts, but when I saw how much credit you had available, I just wanted to touch base with you because I did not feel comfortable closing it out. At least, hello, are you still
Yes,
with me?
I'm still here.
Yeah. All right. Now, I want to touch base with you because I did not feel comfortable closing it out without at least giving you one last opportunity to use this fund. So now, first thing we need to cover is that this package is good for a lifetime. So it takes you 6 months or 6 years to travel you can. All right?
Okay.
All right. Now, what we're doing for you today is unlocking this destination. So you will have what we call VIP destinations with over 40 cities. And you can pick your choice of 3. All right?
3 cities? I'd like to see the world. I like to travel a lot. But really, I don't care where I go as long as if I can do it in like a murder mystery cruise. Do they have those types of cruises? I'd like to do a murder mystery cruise, but let's do like the real thing this time.
Oh, I see. Yeah, just give me 1 second to, yes, exactly. Just give me 1 second, all right?
Okay.
All right, now, you and your family can travel to places like New York City, New Orleans, Smoky Mountains, Fort Lauderdale, or Myrtle Beach, just to name a few.
Okay.
So now you have some options. And next, you will receive all-inclusive flex cruise with 6 days and 5 nights of accommodations.
Okay, and that would be the murder mystery cruise?
Actually, I don't want to mislead you. I have a promotional director who can...
Okay.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Now, yeah, again, next you will receive all your... Hello, are you still with me?
I still hear you. I don't know why you keep saying hello. You just keep stop talking. I'm right here.
Yeah, how about now? Can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. Again, next you will receive our inclusive flex cruise with 6 days and 5 nights of accommodation. So you have Carnival, Norwegian, and Royal Caribbean Cruise Line to choose from. And we are now offering 10 different ports across the country, like Baltimore, Galveston, Cape Carnival, or Charleston. And we are including round-trip airfare as well. All right?
Okay.
All right. Now, I'm looking at your account, Mr. Dwayne. It looks like the travel credit you have on file pretty much pays for everything. So now the only thing remaining is your booking and processing fees.
All right.
Also, now we are running a live... Yes. And now we are running a live promotion here today. So can you please give me 1 moment to find out what those are? Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, this is Christina Baker. I'm the senior account coordinator. How are you today?
Oh, good. I can hear you a lot better. I have a hard time hearing the other lady.
Okay, yeah. So do you have any questions about the trips?
I was asking if they have. She was telling about the cruise, and I wanted to do a murder mystery cruise, but like the real thing.
Yeah, we don't have that. We only have Norwegian Royal Caribbean Carnival, and I'm not sure if they offer murder mystery.
Would we be able to, like, if I were to bring friends, could we like hold our own, just be on the cruise and do our own like murder mystery event on the cruise?
Like, you mean like murder people on the cruise and then like
just one,
try to decipher who did it?
Yeah, like that.
I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to be the Netflix Jeffrey Dahmer, maybe you
I'm not like sick and twisted. I'm fine even not being the one that does it. I just want to. She hung up. She's like, I don't know if you want to be Jeffrey Dahmer. Oh man, murder mystery. It was going to be the real murder mystery cruise. I was going to fight for your seats, guys. I really was. I'm just impressed they called back when they did. I told them to call back at 10. They called back at 11, so I'm not sure what time zone they're in. But man, bummer. Okay, so we'll have to set up another one. Unfortunately, all our scam calls seem to be about cruises. So I'm going to need some ideas for the next one so we have it ready, because I never know when it's going to happen. Ashley says I sent you a text. Okay, I'm going to look here. Okay, that's okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. I like it. I like it, Ashley. Let me do some searching for that. Okay. Thank you for the idea for the merchandise. It sounds quite cozy. Oh man. I could try calling back, but that would be a little suspicious. When it seems like I'm trying too hard when I call them back, and already, honestly, I think the voice, the sound of my equipment, they're already suspicious because it sounds like better than a phone, right? It sounds like a recording studio, which we basically are in. But man, they have the stupidest scammers ever. Like murder people on the cruise and find out who did it. Yes, that's what we're in for. You know, that should be a thing. So I'm never going to get on a cruise this rate. We could just, even if it's just like throw someone off. That's what I love messing with these people. Obviously, I have zero desire to actually commit any crime anywhere, especially on the high seas, even in international waters. But I just think that I feel bad that these scammers are actually calling people who think that they've actually won something, that they actually are owed money, and they end up paying this fee and end up getting, even if they get a cruise, something much less than what they expect. And it's just a scam. Epstein Island. Oh my goodness. I could not. No. I can't do that. If they have overboard insurance. Overboard insurance. I have to be careful because Mrs. RA is listening here. So how would I ask for that politely and say, you know, what happens if the person I'm with falls over? Do they do any investigation? She is a rookie and they put her against you. Do you think that Dwayne has a credit card on file? We could all go cruising. I don't know. I need to call Dwayne. I think he's a real person. I really think Dwayne Bourne or Dwayne Bond. I think it's Bourne. I can't remember because their accent's a little dumb. You need a half dumb accent. You sound too intelligent. Can load up on a pontoon and call it a cruise. I love pontoon boats. They're great for fishing. They're not good for a lot of people. They sink. They really do. The front end goes under and it goes badly. Next time, cruise to the Fire Festival. I need to know more about that before I ask the question. What about a winter cruise? And ask if they could arrange for it to snow on the cruise or something like that. Just ask them some bizarre things. Yeah, I'm not Googling overboard cruise insurance, says Ivan. They're already watching you, Ivan. Don't give them any more reason. Maybe let them think you'll be buying what they're offering. if she was a little easier to understand, it did sound a lot like Charlie Brown's teacher, who said that. She was like talking through, I don't know, the phone was in the garbage can or something. I have a feeling you can do accents. Not well at all. I have like one accent and I can't even tell where it's from. What is the Fire Festival, Cachette? Fill me in before I make a fool of myself. Fire Island. Is it something I can Google safely? Okay, Fire Island, a festival that never happened, kind of take money, no festival type deal. Where did that take place, or where was it supposed to have taken place? Yes, it's safe to Google. Oh, Burning Man, there's an option. Go out to the Salt Flats, the West Desert. Is that in Nevada? I'm not sure if it's in Utah or Nevada, but it's way out there. The Fire Island murders. I think we can use that same murder mystery plot on another caller if we have if I play it slowly instead of saying make it the real deal. Just say I've heard of start with like a themed cruise. Jenny, I'm not sure if that's a thing, but that would be a little embarrassing to get into. They ended up in tents, high-end accommodations. The scammers in the same room and then pretend they're transferring you to the higher up. Yeah, really they are. But they actually have like closers, people that they have different jobs. Like one person makes the initial contact and then one closer who's somebody who's better at it. They're still just scammers. Burning Man is in Nevada desert east of Reno. Darren Lopez, Mark Jensen cruise. That's too much all at once. Possible the Love Boat. We could probably do the Love Boat. Could do Pirates of the Caribbean. What did I miss? We had another call, a cruise call for Dwayne Bourne. Talk Like a Pirate Day is September 19th. It's coming up. All right. Here's where we are. We're pretty much done with court. I know we're sort of done for the day. It's Friday. We have a podcast tonight at 8 p.m. Gosh, I checked my previous message. Fire Festival promised a transformative experience that thousands of attendees paid hundreds, even thousands of dollars to be part of. It was a flop. So it was a scam. It was a scam on part of the organizers, or maybe they had all the world's best intentions and then never delivered. Once talked in a lousy English accent for 2 solid weeks in prison until the entire block wanted to kill me. I'm trying to remember the facts of this, but there was a time I got a call and I thought it was a scammer, and I wanted to pretend I think I was pretending I was a little kid, and so I'm like, hello, on the phone. I'm using this high voice, and it turns out it was like something like my employer, who because I work remotely, I don't talk with a lot, but it was my boss, and it was either my boss, it was somebody of that stature. I'm trying to remember the details, but here I had introduced myself and had done like two rounds of conversation in this little high squeaky voice, which is even painful even to try to do. And then I realized this was a legitimate call that I needed to take and I needed to be on and converse with. And I had started talking as like in this voice, and I had to stay in the voice. I couldn't transition and be like, oh, sorry about that. I thought you were a scammer type thing. I couldn't own up to it. So I had to continue the whole phone call like that. Oh my goodness. That taught me not to do a voice that I can't maintain through a phone call. The organizer went to jail for Fire Island, and now he's out and offering another fire festival. If you buy into this, you deserve to lose your money. He's like, you guys, this time it'll be different. This time it'll happen. We've got bigger tents. How do you just say, let me go get my dad? Yeah, I think it was my boss, somebody from work. And you have to understand that my work, the way I work as a contractor, I literally get hired on by a company and almost never hear from them. and I work for the company, but I don't talk to them. The boss, they're remote. I'm remote. We never see each other. I've worked for an entire company and never once met anyone on the team. That's how the contract works. How do I get the burner number? Well, you make a small financial donation. No, just kidding. SFN Texas. Just type !burner somewhere in your message, and it will pop up on screen as a response to you. Let's see. I want to hear the high voice. I can't do it. Talk about ruining my voice for the show. Yes, typing burner at any time will respond. My robot, Recovery Addict, will respond with this message, and that's the burner phone number right there. So that's it. Are you trying to sign me up for something? I swear I've been getting a lot more spam calls since I've been releasing the burner phone number. If you ask too many times in a row, it's going to respond with a get a pen and write it down this time message, I think. Can you do a Southern accent? Jenny, here's the thing. I can try, but I know that clip button is turned on, and as soon as I try to do it, about 666 of you, which is a funny number, how many's here right now, are going to click that button, and it's going to end up all over social media, and it will be awful. I'll have to practice before I do that. An Australian petting zoo tour. Probably YouTube selling the number. My clip isn't here today. It's pouring rain outside. I can just hear it. I can hear it on my neighbor's roof. That's how hard it's raining. He has a metal roof. I don't know how the clips work. I don't know where they go. Say, hey, y'all. I do say y'all. Y'all is a word I picked up with. Originally, I thought y'all was like, who talks like that? And then I found myself saying it. And it's like, it's because it's convenient and it works and everyone knows what I'm talking about. You see it on Brandy, but not on me. It should be on. It's set to be on. Channel, advanced settings. Allow viewers to clip. Yeah, it should be on my stream. Let me check the other feed here. Turn that off. Hide that. Well, go figure. I'm not seeing it, and I don't know why. I thought we had it fixed, Cachette. I don't know why. Samantha has it showing. Maybe it's the browser. You see the scissors on your phone. Okay, so anyway, the big news, what we want to talk about is obviously what we talked about yesterday. The case we have a big case. We've had a lot of fun court hopping this week. We've done a lot of fun things and a little bits here and there with the SOVSIT, with Kouri Richins today, with a little bit from the BK updates. The big thing that's coming is we have this widower case next week that we are going to be pressed for, which is super exciting. And as that comes up, I'm just checking to see if the court has sent me the information I need yet. And they have not. It's downloading email. Hang on. 32 emails just in that time. Let's see. Lots of information. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. I'm not seeing the email I need. Okay. Oh, 7 more just came in. What is with this? Look up the Karen Reed case out of Boston. Just got the burner. That is going to be a great case. What's the schedule on Karen Reed? Do you guys know? This is the police officer murder trial. This is the girlfriend or the spouse of the police officer is accused with the murder of this officer, while he was at a party or while he was attempting to attend a party. The police, the prosecutors are saying that that she hit him with a car, like backed over him as she was dropping him off at the party and then left him out in the snow to die. The problem is he has like dog bite marks all over his arm and bruising that's not consistent with being hit with the car. And there's very suspicious circumstances on this one. So what's the date on the Karen Reed? Do we have a court date, a trial date on that one? Samantha Terry says, if we don't see you this evening at the podcast at 8 p.m. Eastern, we look forward to seeing you Monday. Yes, I'm going to be there at the podcast. I hope to see all of you there as well. It's going to be fun. We're going to have Brandy Churchwell on. We're going to have JT as well, Brandy's partner on the channel. The work husband. What does she call him? Like did she say it was like the work husband, or they see each other often on the channel, but that's it. Looking for a response. Let's see. There's a hearing on September 24th. I could be wrong on the Karen Reed case. Tell you what, let me do the paperwork on Karen Reed to get media access on that one, because that's a high interest one that I think we will want to follow for sure. So let me put that on my homework for today, since I will have a little bit of time. Homework. Okay. Okay, we'll follow that one. Yes, Brandy will be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're looking forward to spending some time with Brandy and JT. I don't know how the clips get there. If you post a clip, don't you have to post it on your own feed, or does it show up on my feed? Court TV has access, then we should be able to get access as well. Okay, I've actually got the objection soundbite. It's just not built. Let me see. I've got this. This is what we have.
I object. I object. I object.
That's what we've got for the sound effect from the soft set, but I just need to build the link for you, so I'll put that on my list as well for homework for today. Clips show up on individual feeds, but are searchable and linked to the original video. So it's going to be on your own account, on your own YouTube feed. Dr. G is going live at the same time as your podcast. Oh, that's awful. I mean, it's good. It's good. But I'll have to watch him on the replay. Okay. I think that's it. So if she's got a hearing on the 24th of September, man, that puts her case, everything could happen at the same time. BK, Sarah Boone, Microsoft executive, Karen Reed. It is going to be the worst month ever for court, just because everything's happening at the same time. We want to watch them all. I'm going to have to buy like a dozen of these live views, which means I'll have to earn about $60,000 between now and then. Oh man. Let's see. Do you have Judge Simpson's soundbite? Which one? What was he saying? The no pickles?
Thanks. I don't want pickles either. Thanks. I don't want pickles either.
I've got him as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to put that as a command that I can play. Nighttime restreams? Yeah, we'll do that. You need to just clone yourself and set up new channels for your clones. City's crazy. I'm looking at setting up a new channel because very soon we're going to have multiple streams at the same time. Multiple courts that we're going to follow, and we might need RA2 and RA3 channels so we can live stream from multiple locations at the same time. The only problem is I can only be on one at a time. So it'll be difficult to, I'll have to choose a trial and live stream that. And as far as commentary, the others will just be live stream for your enjoyment, just pure court and no interruptions. Mrs. R.A. can be a host. I'll need more cameras. I'll need more switchers. The pickles for the intro.
Thanks. I don't want pickles either. Thanks. I don't want pickles either.
I'm going to cut the thanks off. Just have.
Thanks. I don't want pickles either.
I don't want pickles either. And then I'll cut the K on the end as well. I'm needing staff. I really do, Aunt Candy. It's a lot of work to follow all the paperwork. Honestly, it's a ton of work to dig up just the information we need to fill out the forms and then follow up and all the lawsuits. I mean, with the form I filed with Nevada, I thought I'd do that and be done. And then there were all these steps to register for other for receiving electronic email or electronic documents and everything else. There's just a ton involved every time there's a new area that we have to file paperwork for. Edit to say I want pickles.
Thanks. I don't want pickles either.
Take out the don't. I want pickles. Take out the don't and the either. I want it to be the extra pickles for pickles.
I object.
I'm not sure if I got the extra pickles soundbite. Where was that? I didn't get that one yet. I'll have to go back and grab that. Looking forward to the podcast. Made me laugh so much last week. Thank you, iRescue Dogs. It's going to be fun. We've got a lot of good people together, and we'll have a good time. Start training little RA for staff. Carol, he already knows how to run the machine as far as what he has to do to push the button to get the device he wants to play with on the big screen so we can play the game on the TV. And he can run the soundboard already. I did have it yesterday. I had it. I was playing straight off YouTube on that one. There won't be a trial date for Rex for years. I agree. That one's going to push way out, especially with that much data. Even somebody who wants a speedy trial in his defense, if there's that much data, it would be wrong for his attorneys to rush to court without reviewing that 7 terabytes of data. There may be stuff in there that may exonerate him, or that can be presented as counter evidence that doesn't stack up. Some kids are yelling "ceasefire, ceasefire" in the hallway. All your friends in one place tonight. Yes, we're going to have that tonight, 8 p.m. I think that's it. All right. With that being said, we're going to wrap up for today until tonight. We have the podcast tonight. I've got homework and things to work on here as we get prepared for a case that starts next week. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be following the widower trial, and so no cruise. I might go live if I get another call. Exculpatory versus inculpatory evidence. This is Greg Manuli. Yeah, if there's exculpatory evidence, they definitely want to find that. And leaving 7 terabytes of data, untouched would be a travesty in defense. So there's no way this is going to go to court right away because they need time to pour through all that. Adam, hopefully you can get some sleep. I do hope you get some rest. Get feeling better as well. Sleep helps do that. What's the widower trial? The widower trial is the man who's accused of killing 4 of his last 6 wives. He was on death row, sentenced to death, and appealed and won an appeal. So this is a retrial. He's back in court. The original trial happened in 2009. So he's back in court. The original one was he won the appeal because the prosecutors presented just a little too much of that prior bad acts. And got the jury to convict, and they went for the death penalty. So you got a retrial on that one, and we'll see if he gets the same outcome. It's going to be interesting with 4 out of 6. I know people who've been married 6 times and divorced 6 times, but married 6 times and 4 of your spouses die. It might be you. It might be you. That's all I can say. Can I port you to Brandy? I can do that. I think she's following the trial today from. Let's see. Just one second. I think she's following the Lisk hearing. Let's see what she's doing right now. Let's see. She's doing the Melly hearing and Rex Huerman. So she's doing both. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll port you over there when this is done. I'll save it. For the port to work, just know it has to be all the way over, ended, stop the live stream. So if you're waiting for it and you say, I stopped and it didn't work, you have to wait for the end. Just stay, just sit tight, enjoy chat for just a minute as we wrap up the audio and everything, and we'll do it. Tonight when you go home, well, first of all, be on the podcast tonight, but then after that, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and stay safe till we go live again, which will be tonight at the podcast, 8 p.m. Brandy Church will be there, JT will be there, Weather Watch and me will be there. So hope to see you there. We'll see you later. Bye.